Hey guys, what's up? We are live. Welcome to the 7-day fluent pronunciation challenge. I am super excited to do this challenge with you guys. I have so much planned over the next 7 days. So hopefully you are ready. The tasks that I'm going to give you are going to be, how should I say this? They're going to be easy, but they're going to be hard. They're going to challenge you, but this is a challenge. You are here to be challenged, and the tasks I'm going to give you are really important. It's part of the training. So be excited. Woohoo! We've got so much to do. So welcome everyone. Where are you guys watching from? And where did you hear me talk about this challenge? Are you coming over from YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or Facebook? Are you one of my students? Did you hear just through the emails? Okay, I would love to know. I'm already recognizing some names here. This is great. Welcome everybody. Let's settle in. This was a very interesting start to the challenge because as soon as I wanted to go live, there was no button for me to go live. And I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do the live training? And then I remembered I had removed that option from the group just because I was changing the settings and everything. But for some reason, I didn't realize it would apply to me because I'm the admin. I'm the one that created the group. So I had to go fix that, you know, when I was supposed to start the video. And then of course, when I'm setting everything up, I accidentally shut my computer off. So then I had to turn it back on. Anyways, you guys, this is life. Like sometimes unexpected things happen and we have to just develop this ability to go with the flow. It's okay. You're going to make mistakes in English. Things are going to happen that stress you out, that make you uncomfortable. But you know what? You got to be like a river and you just got to go with the flow. Okay. So I have a lot to talk to you guys about today. So I am just going to jump right into it. So first of all, welcome everyone to the challenge. We have almost 300 people watching. That's so cool. So cool. Hi, Long. I recognize Long because he was one of my first students way back when. Awesome. Okay. So, first things first, okay, you're here. This is a pronunciation and accent challenge, right? So I want to know what your accent goals are. What are your pronunciation goals? This is something that we have been talking about in the group, right? I've been posting about it. What do you struggle with? What are your goals, etc. So what are your goals? Have you thought about your goals? Because this is something we do need to talk about. If you're going to achieve something, you have to know what you want to achieve, okay? And you have to be very clear. It can't be like, well, I mean, I guess I could do this or I guess I could do that. It has to be like, no, this is what I want. You have to be able to hear your voice in your head or at least imagine how you could sound. You have to know what you want and you have to know why you want it. And later on in the challenge, we'll talk a little bit more about goals. We'll go a little bit deeper. We'll talk about healthy goals versus unhealthy goals because sometimes we set the bar way too high, okay? And we do ourselves a disservice by doing that. Things happen slowly over time. You have to be confident as you learn. But sometimes our own goals actually hold us back because they steal our confidence from us. Okay, so we'll talk about that more in the challenge. But for right now, we can just talk about what do you want, right? So someone says, I want to speak like a native speaker. Great. I know a lot of people here want to do that. And I cannot wait to talk about that. We're going to go really in depth into that in a later video. But what I would love to know from you guys is, what do you mean when you say, I want to speak like a native speaker? What exactly comes to mind? Because like I said, we'll go deeper into this later, but different people have different ideas. Some people want to, have the fluency that a native speaker has. Some people want to have, the connected speech that a native speaker has. Some people want to be able to speak as easily as native speakers do, and that is what they mean. Other people, when they say, I want to speak like a native speaker, they mean, I want to pass as a native speaker. I want other people to think that I am a native English speaker, okay? So when you think, along those lines, I want to speak like a native, what exactly is going through your mind? This is so important. We are going to talk about this later in the challenge because I wanted the exact same thing in my journey learning Spanish back in the day. And I'm going to tell you guys about my journey, and I'm going to tell you about the things I did well that helped me learn how to speak like a native. I'm going to demonstrate my Spanish later on in the challenge so you guys can hear how I speak. And I'm going to tell you about the horrible things I did that held me back, okay? That really made it take even longer for me to open up and be comfortable speaking and stuff like that, okay? So, great. So someone says, I almost speak like a native, but sometimes I don't feel confident, okay? And we're going to talk about confidence quite a bit too. Someone says, I want to be fluent without translating in my head. My goal is to sound clearer and be understood by anyone. Great. And that is a fantastic goal. And I have found that the people who've joined this challenge and who follow me, they either tend to be in one of these two camps, okay? There's the camp that is, I just want to be clear and I just want people to understand me. I don't care if I have a foreign accent or anything like that. Okay. And then there's the other people who are like, I want to sound and speak like a native. Okay. Honestly, both goals are valid. It all comes down to you and what you want and why you want that. Okay. So we'll get into all of this stuff, but I'm just warming up the discussion here. And later I'm going to go back and I'm going to read all of these comments. So even if I don't have time to go through this live and read your comments live, please share your ideas because I'm going to go through all of it live and I'm going to take notes, and my notes are going to help me later on when I do the videos about confidence or about speaking like a native and goals, etc. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so let me tell you guys about the goal of this challenge in particular, okay? The goal. We have very specific goals in this challenge, in every single program I make. There's always a reason why we're doing it. It's not like just a bunch of random information. We're trying to take you somewhere. So first of all, I have 3 main goals in this challenge. First, I want to help you learn how to achieve fluent pronunciation, okay? I want to show you how to do this, okay? And I want to help you discover your weaknesses. If you don't know exactly what they are, you might have a general idea, but maybe your idea is like, yeah, when I speak, the words don't come out the way I want them to, okay? But that is not enough. You need to know specifically what you're doing wrong and why things are not coming out the right way, because once you are aware of what is really going on, then you're going to be able to fix it, right? And to address it, but you have to have that awareness. Okay, so one of my goals here is to help you truly discover your weaknesses, and the tasks are going to do this, okay? It is so important when I give you guys the tasks later on every single day, a little task, okay? It's gonna push you out of your comfort zone, but it's important. It is so important that you do these tasks, okay? Because these tasks will reveal to you what your weaknesses are, okay? And we're gonna talk about everything after you do the task, okay? I'll explain how the tasks work later. And then the third goal of this challenge is to set you on the path to accent freedom. Okay, so now let me talk about, okay, what these things mean. Oh, and by the way, every day, just in case anyone is not clear on this, every day we're going to have a live training here in the group at the same time, every single day of this challenge. Okay, it's going to be about 1 hour long. And today, for the first day, I just have a lot of information to give, so I'm probably going to speak for the entire hour and I won't have time for a lot of questions at the end. Okay, so today I'm going to speak, I'm going to share, I'm going to teach, and then I'm going to give you your task. Then, okay, I'm going to go on my computer and I'm going to email everybody. I'm going to email everybody what the task is and the replay to this video so everything is clear. I really like being organized when I teach so that it's easy for you to follow a process. And then every day, just the same thing. Every day there's going to be a live video, then there's going to be an email, then there's going to be a task. You'll have 24 hours to complete the task, okay? And then there's going to be another video, an email, and another task, okay? For 7 days. So it is going to be quite intense, but I think it's going to be 100% worth it. And I want to encourage you, again, to do the tasks, to watch the videos. It's really going to make a difference for you, okay? So that's how the challenge works. Now I want to talk to you about fluent pronunciation. What is fluent pronunciation? Why did I call this challenge the Fluent Pronunciation Challenge? Okay, so First of all, this is a term that I invented. I have not seen any other teacher talk about fluent pronunciation. Maybe they talk about good pronunciation or bad pronunciation or correct pronunciation. But now I want to start a discussion about fluent pronunciation and what is fluent pronunciation and what are we going to be working on here in the challenge. Okay, so hang on. I actually need to make a note here. I forgot something. Oh my goodness. So for those of you who are in my courses, you already know this, but every time I do a live video, I have a pretty massive outline of everything that I'm going to be talking about. And I just realized I forgot something. Okay, so fluent pronunciation. What is fluent pronunciation? Okay, so first of all, fluent pronunciation is when you're able to speak naturally, the way that I speak or the way that anybody speaks who speaks naturally. You don't sound like a robot. You don't feel like a robot, okay? You're able to connect your words effortlessly. You don't have those awkward pauses, right? People understand you. You pronounce words correctly. You don't really struggle with mispronouncing words because you know how to make the correct sounds in English, and you're able to You're able to connect them in a natural way where other people are able to understand you. It feels good to speak, okay, and engage with other people, and you're able to do things like use your intonation effectively, okay? So in many ways, fluent pronunciation is speaking like a native, because how do natives speak, right? They are fluent. They connect their words naturally, all right? Now, granted, some natives are more clear than others, and this is why in the idea of fluent pronunciation, it's not just fluent and connected, but it is also clear, okay? Because not everybody is somebody we want to imitate, and we will talk about that later on as well. Okay, so that's fluent pronunciation. Now, what about accent freedom? I mentioned accent freedom. What is this? This is another term that we came up with in my team of people that I talk with to create all the courses and content for you guys. And this idea is basically being comfortable in English no matter how you speak. Yes, working on your voice. Yes, working towards your accent goals, your pronunciation goals, but ultimately getting to a place where you feel really comfortable in English and you like your voice, right? Isn't that the dream? That is the dream. You like the way you sound. You're comfortable the way you speak, in the way you speak, okay? You don't cringe when you watch yourself on video, and everything just comes out great, right? So accent freedom, being comfortable in English, being in control of your voice, not where when you speak, it's like, oh man, I can't believe I said that. Oh, I don't know how to fix it. No, it's the opposite. It's, I know exactly how to control my voice. I can control my tongue. I can control my breathing. I can control my lips and my mouth and my accent. I can control my accent, right? So for example, you guys, when I speak English, I can imitate other accents. They won't necessarily come out perfectly. Like I won't pass as a native, an Irish native or a UK native, but I can imitate those accents. I can control my voice. I do the same thing in Spanish. I have so much fun imitating a Mexican accent, a Colombian accent, Costa Rican, okay? Like I love doing it. This is having control of your voice where you can choose how you want to sound and then sound that way, okay? This is accent freedom, where you get to choose the accent that you want to imitate or speak like, whether that's British, whether that's American, Australian, whatever, but you need to think about how you want to sound in English. And there's no right or wrong answer here. And you can create your own accent. That's perfectly fine. If you kind of like certain things about British pronunciation, but then you also like things about American pronunciation, you can marry them. You can put them together and say, I am creating my own voice, my own accent, my own way of speaking. You have the authority and the permission to do that. It's amazing. There are so many non-native English speakers who sort of just create their own accent in English. Actually, Renzo, my husband, is one of these people. When he learned English, he did not develop the English accent that most Argentinian people develop, okay? It's kind of a British sounding English when they speak. He just developed his own accent and he created his own accent. And he said, this is how I want to speak. This is how I'm going to speak. And this is how I speak, So he does not pass as a native English speaker, but that's not even a problem for him because he never wanted to do that in the first place. Like he's all about being himself. He doesn't want to be somebody else. He doesn't want to be like somebody else. He's very independently minded like that. Okay. So again, accent freedom is having the freedom to choose how you want to sound and then designing your voice, okay? And for some people, it's going to be about designing their voice. And for other people, it's going to be about relaxing into your voice. Let me explain the difference. So designing your voice means you don't sound the way you want to sound at all, and you need to really actively change your intonation patterns, your the way you pronounce your vowel sounds, your consonants, and all of this is possible. You can totally do it. That is designing your voice. Or maybe you have like a weak, mousy, quiet, squeaky voice, and you really want to develop a powerful voice. So you can get up, at conferences and speak, and people will listen to you, and you don't sound scared, okay? So that's designing your voice. Relaxing into your voice means you already have a great voice in your native language. You already sound confident. You already have smooth sounds. You already have a great, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the way your voice resonates in your mouth and in your chest, it sounds good already in your native language. But in English, you get nervous, you get anxiety, you feel like weird, like you have to imitate the way a specific person sounds, and then you trying to imitate their voice ruins your voice. So for example, we're going to do some imitation exercises in this challenge, okay? You guys are going to be able to imitate me. But it's good to learn imitation. It's good to practice it, but you also have to become aware of what you should be practicing. For example, imitate my vowel sounds, imitate my intonation patterns, but don't necessarily try to imitate the sound, the exact sound of my voice. Because I'm a woman, my voice is a bit higher. And if you're a man and you're trying to imitate the exact sound of my voice, it's going to distort your voice, and it's not going to make your voice as attractive. So you have to know what to imitate and how to imitate it, but don't imitate everything, right? Little things. So relaxing into your voice means you already have a great voice, okay? But in English, something is happening where your voice is just not working, okay? And then you need to just relax and let go of certain things that you're trying so hard to do, because those things are actually ruining your voice. They're not making it as attractive, okay? So anyhow, accent freedom, choosing how you want to sound. And for some of you, that's going to mean designing your voice. And for others of you, it's going to mean relaxing into your voice, okay? I've seen students, and I've worked with students who are literally trying so hard to change their voice that it actually becomes less pleasant. And one of the biggest things that I can possibly tell you about working on your voice is it's all about relaxing, truly relaxing. So not putting in tons of effort to like round your lips or drop your jaw, okay? But relaxing, feeling relaxed from head to toe inside your body, relaxing your mind, relaxing your throat, relaxing your lips, okay? When I speak, I'm not like tense. There's not a lot of tension, okay? You might feel a little bit sore, if you will, when you're practicing your pronunciation because you're using muscles you haven't used before. But I believe if you do it right, you actually shouldn't experience that soreness, because the soreness is tension, and the tension is coming from anxiety. It's coming from a lot of things. But I can work on pronouncing words in Portuguese or in French, okay? I can work on my pronunciation, but if I'm doing it right, I should not feel tired at the end of it. Like my mouth should not feel tired, because if you're relaxing, truly relaxing, it's okay. It's not like your tongue is lifting 10-pound weights. Okay, so biggest tip here is you're gonna have to relax throughout this journey, okay? Okay. So anyways, I see there's some things going on in the comments, you guys. Be careful. Be careful what you comment. Be careful what you say, because we have no problem kicking people out of this challenge. And we will go ahead and do that if needed after the video is over. I'm not really watching the comments. I just saw something. So just saying that. Okay, we're here to learn. We're here to have a supportive environment, etc. Whenever students join my courses, there's never anything that goes wrong because we have so many awesome people in the courses. But I understand that when you make something free, sometimes you get people in there that probably shouldn't be in there, okay? So anyways, let's move on. All right, so, and the final things about accent freedom is basically the way you sound is not an obstacle at all. Even if you have a quote foreign accent, you're able to use that to your advantage. There are so many foreigners who have accents, and it's just like they wear it on their sleeve. Like they're proud of it. They don't try to hide it. They have tons of personality. And the accent is not something that holds them back. It's actually something that helps them move forward and get their foot in the door, get certain opportunities because they have an accent, because it adds a level of intrigue. So anyhow, again, you can sound however you want to sound. I can teach you how to train your voice, and I will. Okay. But you have to decide what you want, what's going to make you happy. And there's no right or wrong answer here. So think about this for a second. If you were trying to speak like a native because you felt like you had to, not because you truly wanted to, now you have permission. You can relax, right? You don't have to go for that. Or maybe you were thinking like, oh, I felt like I had to settle with a foreign accent because I didn't think I could actually work on my voice and train it, but you weren't really happy with that idea. Well, guess what? You can speak like a native if you want. You can go after that. There are so many things that I can teach you about that. And basically, again, it's your decision. All right. Next. Okay, so let me jump to this. Why I keep saying your voice is an instrument, okay? So you need to really have a mindset for success here. The mouth, okay? The mouth is amazing. And what controls the mouth is the brain, all right? And think about this. Think about the way people sing. Think about how they learn to sing. Think about how some people learn how to sound exactly like native speakers in other languages. I will tell you from experience, because that's what I did in Spanish, it's not about having some special gift. I don't believe, okay? It is about being obsessive. It is about working really hard, but also just really obsessing over sounds and being like, okay, what I'm saying is not what they're saying, and working on it, okay? Because one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people do is they just don't work on their pronunciation, right? They don't think that they can. They don't think that maybe they don't think that they need to. I don't know. But a lot of people give up because it's hard. And if you are the kind of person who tries something and then fails and then gives up because you failed, you're not going to be able to work on your voice, and you're not going to be able to achieve the pronunciation or the accent, sounds that you want, because it takes a lot of repetition. Okay. It takes repetition. It takes work, repetition, listening, repeating. Okay. And relaxing, not giving up. But again, there are people who have this mindset when it comes to learning, not just accent and pronunciation, but anything. And they try, they fail, and they give up. Not realizing that failing is literally part of the learning process. You literally have to fail. It is part of the journey, okay? And that has to be embraced. You have to embrace it and be like, yeah, I'm going to fail. Know that you're going to fail, and then embrace it, because you literally cannot achieve. It's just logic. You cannot get to that next spot if you don't fail like 100 times, okay? More than 100, maybe 1,000 times. So if you have the mindset where you're like, okay, I know I'm gonna fail, totally fine. Doesn't even bother me, does not even faze me, doesn't give me any kind of anxiety, doesn't embarrass me one bit. It's totally fine. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep practicing. Okay, when you have that mindset, oh my goodness, you are able to achieve so much in life, not just in pronunciation, not just in accent or anything like that, but just so much. Because literally every time you stumble, you get right back up, you dust yourself off, and you keep going. Most people, I would say 99% of people, they don't keep going. They think the world is against them. They develop some kind of victim mentality. They think they're not capable. They make some excuse for themselves. Whatever, okay? The list goes on. So you basically have to have it in your head that you will make mistakes, totally fine, and you want to make mistakes. You need to make mistakes, okay? And you need to be okay with that and not get into the zone of, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed, I'm so ashamed, I'm so this, I'm so that. You need to be able to laugh at your mistakes, and you need to get to a point where you're almost robotic in your emotions. Like it doesn't faze you either way, okay? Because sometimes we overcompensate and we're like, ha ha ha, I made a mistake, but really on the inside you're dying, okay? So we don't want to do that either. It just needs to get to a place where it's like, yeah, I I make mistakes. That's fine. It's not super positive. It's not super negative. It's just, it is what it is. And you're moving on because this is your journey. Okay. Someone says, are you going to save the live? Yes, because the replay will need to be available for everybody to watch. Okay. So again, why do I keep saying your voice is an instrument? Because it is, because you can train your voice. And remember, what controls your voice is your mind. If you have the mindset for success, if you have the mindset that it's okay that I fail, I'm going to keep trying, I'm going to come at this every single day, I'm going to not get discouraged over the long run. Okay. I mean, you can put something away if you've done it for a while and you need to take a break, but then you come back to it. It's not like you put it in a shelf and put it on a shelf and just ignore it for decades. Okay. So your voice is an instrument. You can learn to sing if you want. You can learn to do accents if you want. Have you guys ever seen those videos on YouTube where it's like one guy, 20 accents? Go look that up if you haven't seen it yet, because it's phenomenal. It really shows you what the voice can do. And the reality is, so many of us are just in our comfort zone. We've been using the same voice for decades. We've never really tried to change it. And then there's all kinds of pressure too that we have to deal with, okay? Like sometimes if you try to speak like an American, you might deal with your friends and family making fun of you and saying something like, why are you trying to sound like that? You're not American, all right? And people have a way of doing this. They have a way of projecting their insecurities onto you, their ideas onto you. It's not healthy. And so a lot of times we don't do what we want to do, or we do things that we don't want to do simply because of the pressures around us. So you have to learn how to manage those pressures, how to not be rude in the process. Because I think sometimes, when this stuff happens around us, it makes us angry and then we get rude, right? And you have to learn how to just handle this kind of stuff professionally and just say, no, I know I'm not American, but I really enjoy the way the accent sounds and it's fun. It's really fun for me to practice. Do you want to try? We can practice together. Like, instead of making it this like thing where you're fighting, it can be just honest. I really like it. So I'm not trying to be somebody that I'm not. I'm not trying to disregard my culture or throw my culture under the bus. I really love the way that they speak, and I enjoy practicing this. Okay. So, and then we could talk about 20 scenarios, like 20 different things people are going to say and things that are going to happen. Okay. But we don't have time for this. But anyhow, we could talk about a lot of these things, but you really have to learn how to confront these situations when they happen, so that you can go after your goals and feel confident, okay? Another thing is, something people will tell you is it's impossible. It's whatever your goal is, it's impossible, okay? I cannot tell you how many entrepreneurs have heard this. What you want to do is impossible. And if we allowed other people to tell us what is possible and what's not, we never would have the internet. We never would have electricity. We never would have cars. We never would have had any of these things if we allowed other people to go, that's impossible. Okay. So people are going to say that. People are going to tell you your goals are not good, or it's impossible, or whatever. And so you have to sort of like quiet out the noise and really go inside yourself and figure out, what do you want? And make sure that you're not letting other people dictate what you should and should not want, okay? Don't be afraid to go after that impossible thing, okay? Because I kid you not, like when we make up our mind to go after something that's impossible, we might not get that exact thing. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, but oftentimes we get something even better, okay? One of my favorite quotes is, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you will land among the stars, okay? So I keep this quote close to my heart because I have shot for the moon in many, many things that I've done. Okay, when I was young and I went to Argentina with no money to study abroad, and it turned out to be the best experience of my life, and I met my husband there, and now we have a baby and just this amazing like relationship, life, okay? So what if I listened to people that said, you don't have money, or it's impossible, or why would you go there, or whatever. Or, hey, I wanted to create a business online. I wanted to teach people English. I wanted to help people. And what if I listened to people that were like, are you sure you don't want to go for something that's a little bit more stable, a little bit more secure? Okay. So we really cannot let other people dictate what we do, what we try to go for and don't try to go for. And your voice, okay, your goals with your voice and how you sound and how you come across in English are no different, okay? So you need to think about how you want to sound. And I'll tell you guys a quick story about, I wasn't even planning on this, but I'll tell you a quick story about pressures that I faced with my voice when I was 13 years old, okay? I went to a school where, first of all, I grew up speaking very clearly. My mom always wanted us to speak clearly. I learned English from my parents. They speak very clearly. And then I went to a school where there was a completely different culture, okay? I was like a minority at this school. There was a different culture and the kids spoke in a different way, okay? And I felt very out of place. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I don't fit in here. I need to change the way that I speak. I need to change the way that I sound, because I sound too proper and these kids are like cool and I didn't sound cool the way that I spoke, you know? So I started changing the way that I started changing the way that I sounded, the way that I spoke. I started changing my grammar a little bit so that I could try to sound more cool and fit in with all these other kids. But it felt so wrong. It was so inauthentic. It was not who I am, you know? And I was just like, oh, like, I just felt so pressured to do this. Nobody told me I had to sound like this, but it was some pressure that I felt, probably because of myself, because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to belong. I wanted to be one of them. I wanted to blend in. And it was like a whole year of doing that. And then in 8th grade, I was like, this is so stupid. I hate sounding like this. I hate making my voice like this. I hate not being clear. I hate all these things, you know? And I was like, I'm done pretending that I'm exactly like these other kids, because I'm not. Like, I'm me. I'm different. And I speak clearly and I speak up. I project my voice. I do not mumble. That is not who I am. And so then I just decided enough was enough. And it was at that point when I finally got comfortable with who I am, okay? You have to embrace who you are and whatever that means, okay? And how you speak and how you want to speak. Okay, so this applies to you guys just as much as it applied to me, okay? So anyways, again, it's another example of how we can change our voices and we can be in control of them, but it's also an example of how sometimes we feel pressured by people, by society, etc. And at the end of the day, you can't do that because, for example, we could reverse all of this. Let's say there was a girl, or let's say a girl like that was, you know, that talked the way they spoke at that school, came to a school where everybody talked like me. So clear, so this, so that. And she felt like, oh my gosh, now I have to speak like that. And it didn't reflect her personality, right? What if she changed to speak like me, exactly like me, but that really didn't reflect truly who she was, right? That wouldn't be good either. So at the end of the day, what's really important is you feeling comfortable with your voice, you feeling comfortable when you communicate in English, and people being able to understand you. Because there is also that fine line. There is a fine line of you can choose how you want to sound, but if nobody understands you, is that going to serve you, right? Okay, cool. So let's talk a little bit about why English pronunciation is hard, why most students fail, they don't get the results that they want. And then I will jump into how to actually start changing your pronunciation, okay? All right, how are we doing? Let me actually take a little water break. Here we go. All right. So why is English pronunciation hard and why do so many students struggle with this and fail to reach their goals? First, English pronunciation is hard because you're making new sounds that you've never made before. You have to train your ears just as much as you train your mouth. You have to be able to hear a sound correctly before you can even make the sound correctly, okay? Or imitate the sound accurately, okay? So there's new sounds that don't exist in your language. The way the air comes out, okay, of the mouth and the nose is different. In some languages, you might really push more air out through your nose, okay? In English, maybe you push more air out through your mouth. There's different sounds, different placements, the entire head, basically, the entire head and the chest are all involved in creating sound, okay? Resonating. When a voice is really rich and strong and you have a lot of volume and it's well supported, you will hear the voice coming like from the chest. Like my voice is very well supported when I speak, okay? It's like a booming voice. People can hear me far away. And this is like my voice at maybe 50%. Trust me, I can get a lot louder than this. But anyhow, I can feel my voice resonating here. I feel the vibrations. It's very strong, okay? This is called supporting your voice, using your diaphragm. And this, by the way, is one of the things that communicates confidence. When you can speak like this, when you have the volume, it's not just yelling. It's not just yelling with your throat, like having the voice here. It's like you're supporting with your whole diaphragm, okay? The voice is resonating in your chest. It's creating this rich sound that's pleasant on the ears, okay? So anyhow, the chest is involved, the diaphragm in creating the voice, the head. It's not just the mouth. It's not just the lips. It's not just the throat. It's the breath. It's the lungs, okay? It's the posture. The posture that you have when you speak helps communicate. I cannot do a video like this and sit like this. Like, hi guys. I can't, because first of all, this posture is not conducive to supporting your voice. Like now my diaphragm is all constricted. So I have to open it up. I have to sit up with my back straight. I have to put my chest out, my shoulders back. And this posture, by the way, I'm not forcing myself to do it. It happens naturally because I want my message to be heard. I want people to listen to me. I have a lot to say. So my body naturally just goes into this posture because it's like, all right, we got to speak. We got to get the message out, you know? And so this happens naturally, okay? But it is something that if you don't have it, you can work to develop it because there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just the posture, okay? It's not just a physical movement. It's not just sitting up, right? It's a mindset. It's a belief. It's an attitude that I actually have something important to say and I need to get my message across, okay? There's like an urgency behind it. And this propels me into this position, okay, to be able to make sure that I'm heard. But I remember learning a little bit about posture and stuff like that. Back in the day, I did take some like voice classes, dialect classes, stuff like that. And like they talked about this a little bit, but I did not really truly understand the power of posture until I became a teacher. And I was teaching in classrooms with 30 kids and nobody was listening to me. I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get their attention? So I had to I had to figure it out. So posture is really important too when it comes to voice. Attitude and the way you approach everything that you are going to say is important as well. So it's funny, you guys, this is the Fluent Pronunciation Challenge and we haven't even started really talking about pronunciation yet. We will, I promise. Oh, we're going to talk about it a lot. But I want you to know that there is so much that goes into how you present yourself in English with your voice. And actually not even in English, even in your native language, okay? So there's like levels. There's your pronunciation, just how the actual sounds come out of your mouth, okay? The actual sounds. Then there's like the intonation patterns, the rhythm, the speed. Oh, what else? Then there's the overall sort of accent that you have, but then there's the confidence behind the accent that you can have the exact same accent. Somebody can have, let's say, a Spanish accent, and there can be somebody with a Spanish accent who looks and sounds amazing because they are on fire. They are so confident. They are just like, oh, you know? And then there can be someone with a Spanish accent who maybe doesn't sound as amazing because they lack confidence. You know, they're speaking too quietly. It's hard to hear what they say, etc. So accent is not the be all and end all of this whole, accent freedom voice thing. Someone says, it's awesome how fast you're speaking and I can understand you. Yes, and we're going to talk about my secrets to speaking quickly and being understood later on. Okay, so clarity and it's important. It's really important. So, okay, we were talking about why English pronunciation is hard and why most students fail to reach their goals. So it's because of the new sounds. It's different intonation patterns that you have to learn. And this makes you uncomfortable because it's different, right? So this is where mindset comes in, right? If you're uncomfortable, you're going to have anxiety. And if you have anxiety is a feeling, right, that has physical manifestations, all right? It will make your palms sweaty, okay? It will make your heart beat really fast. It will make you sweat. It will make you just feel super uncomfortable. It will make you stutter, okay? Where you know how to say something when you're home alone in your room, you can say it and it comes out great. But then when you're around other people, because you have anxiety, you start to stutter, or a sound comes out nothing like how you usually make it. And you're just like, did I just say that? Okay. I know exactly what this is like because I have dealt with my own speaking anxiety big time. We'll talk about that in a few days. Okay. But anyhow, so you have to do all these new things. And then on top of it, you're uncomfortable, which causes anxiety or fear of being judged, fear of making mistakes. We're constantly thinking about what are other people thinking of us? What are they perceiving about me? And we project, you guys, this is important. We project our own insecurities onto other people, thinking that those people are thinking about us what we think about ourselves. Okay, it's horrible. So unfortunately, I know you came here to work on pronunciation and accent and stuff like that, but a lot of you struggle with anxiety. And if you're going to get the pronunciation, reach your pronunciation and accent goals, you cannot do that without dealing with the anxiety as well, because the anxiety can be a great reason why you're stuck, why you're not improving, okay? So you got to work on your mindset and the way you perceive yourself, the thoughts that you tell yourself. Okay, you could be telling yourself a lot of negative thoughts that are truly tearing you apart, destroying your confidence. And like we could list all of those out, but again, we don't have time. So for now, just think about these things that I'm saying, okay? So another reason why English pronunciation is hard is people do not practice speaking and pronunciation, like drilling sounds. They do not practice this nearly as much as they should. It truly takes practice, okay? And not forever, right? It's a time frame where you work on it intentionally to get the results that you need to get. And then you build the habits and you build the foundation that you need for the rest of forever. Okay. It's not like you need to work on English pronunciation for the rest of your life. You need to work on it for a set period of time, probably from the time you start working on it intentionally with good materials. Okay. It could take you a year, maybe a little longer. Okay, maybe less, depending on how much you take advantage of it, to really reach your goals. Then you reach your goals. Then you arrive. Then you create your voice. You design your voice, or you relax into your voice, and then you're set. And then you move on, and you have your voice, and you're able to use it. But it's not something that should be a continuous process necessarily. Okay, like for example, learning good, clear communication, okay, the message, how to communicate a message clearly, appropriately, etc. I believe that is a lifelong skill that we study forever because there are so many different scenarios we can be in. Learning how to communicate at work, or you have an experience and you go, you know what, I could have handled that better. Like we're constantly learning how to improve our actual communication skills when it comes to the messages we deliver, how we deliver them, the attitudes behind the messages, all that stuff. But actual pronunciation, okay, and accent creation and all of that stuff, that is not something that should last your entire life. That is something where you say, okay, I'm going to start working on this now. I'm going to create my voice, okay? And then boom, you do it and you move on. Then you have it and you're able to continue going, okay? But okay, as I was saying, people don't practice speaking and pronunciation nearly as much as they should. Teachers in traditional programs, they focus a lot on grammar and writing. And 99% of the time, tell me if I'm wrong, I know I'm not, 99% of the time the teacher is speaking and the students are listening, okay? So how does that help students develop the speaking habits and the pronunciation habits that they need, okay, for their journey? It doesn't. And that is why you have, one of the reasons why you have so many people who understand English perfectly, but they can't speak. Okay, it's like their input is really at a high level, okay, their understanding, but their output is like non-existent. It's not practiced. And that I think is one of the biggest frustrations because you feel handicapped, okay? imagine somebody who has the ability to hear, but does not have the ability to speak, okay? You're handicapped, okay? You're lacking something essential that you need that would really serve you in daily life, okay? So part of the issue is balancing it out and practicing the speaking more. But also, if you practice the speaking a lot, that's great, but you need to get down into the nitty gritty, okay? Like the individual sounds, first the sounds, then the words, then linking words together, and then the overall expression to improve everything about your pronunciation. Again, starting from the basics and getting more complicated. So yeah, we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Another reason why, and by the way, you guys can share what you think too. Like, what are some reasons why English pronunciation is hard? I mean, there are some of the basics. I didn't even write them down here. Like the fact that English spelling has nothing to do with the way words sound. And when words are written, you don't see the way they're supposed to be connected, on the paper, right? It's like you have to just know that. And the reason why native speakers obviously are so good at this is not just, oh, hey, we've been doing it all our lives. It's we learned how to speak first before we learned how to write. We learned how to hear the language first before we learned how to read the language. So by the time we're reading the language, we already know exactly how everything's supposed to be connected. This is why when kids read, they actually sound very robotic because they have to learn how to put everything back together in the end, because you read a book and you go, this is Tom. Tom went to school. Tom's school is 15 minutes from his home. That is how children read, even though they could say that those exact sentences like perfectly, fluently. They're doing it like that because the way you read is not the way you speak. But then as they get older and they get more experience with reading, then they're able to put it back together the way that they actually speak, okay? But when you're an English learner and your teachers force you to read first, okay, and do all of that first, they're actually teaching you in a very unintuitive way. And it sets a lot of people up for failure, unfortunately. It's truly, truly unfortunate. I don't know why the whole ESL industry has not been like overhauled and people are not like rioting and being like, this doesn't work. We pay for training for years and years and years and we still can't speak. I would be livid. Okay. I would be so angry. So anyways, that's how children read, but then they go back and they remember how they speak, so then they're able to bring it back. But unfortunately for you guys, you don't learn the speaking part first and the listening and the tuning your ear into the language, okay? You learn the reading part first. So then you develop this very robotic way of speaking that's very unnatural and disjointed. And so basically we have to do the work to get you to put everything together in a natural, native-like way, okay? So it feels better when you speak, and again, sounds more natural. And what was I going to say about this? So yeah, it's a process. It's a process, but there are ways to do it. But one of the things you definitely have to do is you really have to work on training your ear. And something that I have found is that you have to show students the words on the page. Okay, hang on. If I were teaching English to kids, I would not show them any words on any page right away. I would work on the listening, repeating, right? That would be like my main strategy. So they can learn the way natives learn and then learn the writings, not to set them up for failure. But since you've already learned the writing system, we have to use the words. We have to use the written words, okay? And we have to show you where the mistakes are, where the errors are, how those words, I have to visually show you how those words connect to each other. So you realize when you're reading something on a page that you're not supposed to just read those words like that. You're supposed to actually connect them. And once you see enough patterns of connections, okay, once I show you enough patterns of connections, then you're going to start doing it intuitively, okay? So the brain loves patterns. And I don't know why people don't teach English with patterns, because if they did, students would learn so much faster and the learning would be more fun, more effortless. But teachers never show you patterns. They give you an example of this, then they give you an example of that, then an example of that. When I teach, at least when it comes to pronunciation and stuff like that, okay, in the real like deep training, it's patterns. It's like, here's this sound and now practice these patterns. Here's this connected speech. Now practice these patterns. Because once you can drill the patterns, then it becomes really, really easy. Okay? So And we're going to practice that this week. We're going to practice those patterns, okay? I don't have enough time to do tons and tons and tons of patterns with you guys, but we're just going to go through a few, okay? So actually, let me say it like this. A lot of times when I teach students, okay, and I've practiced this and done this in my other programs, we do one sound, for example, or all the sounds, but then I give the students a lot of patterns to practice with. And so the students end up with like hundreds of words and stuff that they can refer back to, practice with, etc. We're not going to have time for all of that. So you're not going to get as many patterns as I would normally give, but it'll still be helpful. Okay. I have a few more reasons why English pronunciation is hard. Okay. And these will hopefully help you identify why you've been struggling. Next, I think personally, I've watched a lot of like pronunciation videos and stuff on YouTube. So I see how other people teach pronunciation. And one of the things that I think is teachers overcomplicate the learning process. Okay. You have videos that are like 30 minutes long about one sound. And it's like, why does this video need to be this long? Because to me, that's boring. That's ineffective teaching and learning because the sounds themselves are not that, I don't want to say that difficult, but there's a way to teach it where you can get to the teaching part a lot faster and then have the students practice, because the explanation is not what makes the difference. The student practicing is what makes the difference. So I think teachers overcomplicate the learning process. They also go way too deep sometimes. I think it's great to learn the IPA because it is helpful. And that is something that I'm going to be teaching, by the way, in November when I do my accent and pronunciation course. But sometimes teachers go way too deep, where it's like the students are not trying to become linguists. You guys are trying to learn English to be able to communicate in your daily life. You're not trying to learn what a linguist learns when they study at a university. So I think simplifying the learning process as much as possible is what the students need. Okay, and two more. Oh, no, I actually have a few more reasons. Okay, I need to get through this a little bit faster. So another reason why students don't achieve their pronunciation goals is because they give up, or they're not even trying, or they're confused, or they're feeling discouraged. So two of those are the fault of the student, giving up, not even trying. And the other two are the fault of the teacher, okay? Being confusing in the lessons or making everything so complicated that the student can't get results. And so then the student feels discouraged. Another reason why pronunciation is hard is using bad resources, okay? Resources that you might think it's helpful, but it's not actually helpful. And unfortunately, that would be really hard for you to decipher because you're the learner. And you're the one trusting that whoever is putting information out there on the internet is putting good information. Unfortunately, you guys, hopefully this actually is not news to everybody here, but the information is full of bad training, ineffective training, unproven training, okay, a ton of stuff. Hopefully that's not news. Hopefully I'm not disappointing anybody, but literally just be careful what you consume. 99% of what's out there on the internet is just, I watch it and I'm like, oh, I can't believe they're teaching it like this. No, I can't believe, no. Okay. And so if it has helped you, that's a miracle. And it's a testament of how determined you are to learn. So congratulations. Okay. But just be careful. Next, information overload. When students have too much to focus on, they don't know what to focus on, all right? So too much information, too fast is counterproductive. It's ineffective for you. So you need information delivered in the right way with the right structure, a little bit at a time, so you know exactly what to learn and exactly what to practice to get the results and then move on to the next thing, okay? But I think a lot of pronunciation, accent information out there is just like, boom, and here is all the information. Good luck. You know, and it's like, that's not how we learn. So when I, see videos, I also watch videos, by the way, of like how to improve my pronunciation in French and Portuguese, et cetera, et cetera. And there's some good videos, but then there's a lot of stuff where it's just like, oh my gosh, like I just want something where it's like step by step, boom, 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 boom. Teach me the whole system in like a really easy to follow package so that I can get it and move on. But that's never how it is. It's never organized like that. And honestly, I think it's just because teachers don't know how to organize information like this. Think about it. It is a lot of information. Like the sounds of a language, putting the sounds together, intonation, accent, like everything. It's a lot. Okay, and the final reason, and this is very important, so everybody listen. One of the biggest reasons why people don't reach their accent and pronunciation goals is because they're not focusing on one mentor or just a couple mentors who speak the same way and imitating them. So imitating and shadowing is the best, hands down, the best way to improve your pronunciation. You have to see it, you have to hear it, and then you have to imitate it. This is exactly the way babies learn. This is the best method. Not talking about pronunciation or anything like that. Like right now we're talking about how to learn, right? We haven't really started the learning yet. But if you're gonna learn pronunciation from me, and then you're gonna go pick a British English teacher and try to learn from them, and then you're also following an Australian English teacher and you're gonna learn from them, and then you're following another American English teacher who sounds nothing like me, okay? You are setting yourself up for failure. Truly, it is going to take you so long to reach your goals because every person, especially from different places, speaks differently. And the easiest way, I kid you not, the easiest way to learn pronunciation in a language, okay, or how to control your voice is by imitating somebody, choosing a person, choosing the way they speak, getting their voice in your head, and then imitating them. Because even if you don't sound exactly like them, they're giving you a role model that you can follow. There are so many nuances and differences with each sound. In British English, the way they do the T, the way they do their vowel sounds, the way Americans do their vowel sounds. And then even if you look within the US, the way people maybe from the East Coast make certain sounds is different from the way people on the West Coast. And then even people on the West Coast, you know, even in the same town, you might have people, who just speak differently, okay? So the easiest thing for you is going to be to choose somebody, because remember what I said, the brain loves patterns, okay? And each person has their own patterns. So it doesn't have to be me. You don't have to choose me, but choose somebody, okay? Choose somebody whom you love the way that they speak, who can teach you how to sound, okay, a certain way. And then learn from them, imitate them, study with them, okay? Let them show you the way. And it will be so much easier because I did a whole study and analysis on my pronunciation, my accent, and I discovered all of the sounds that I make. There's 53 sounds, and I even made a free guide. It's on my website. I will send it to you guys in the email. On the page, it says 52 sounds. And in the guide, it has 52, but I discovered that there's actually 53. I need to update this and add the missing sound. But the way that I speak English, I have 53 sounds that I use. That's it, okay? That is it. That's all you have to learn, right? There's the vowel sounds and there's the consonant sounds, okay? And then there's the different things that we can do to the consonant sounds or to the vowel sounds, right? But at the end of the day, it's just a certain amount. Now, if you take my English, and then you take, someone from Australia and British English, now they have their own set number of sounds that they use. It might be a little more than I use, it might be a little less, but it is going to be different because their vowel sounds for sure are going to be different, okay? Their intonation patterns are also going to be different. So what helped me, right, develop a native-like accent in Spanish was focusing on imitating 3 different people, and these 3 people all spoke the same way. And by listening to them and imitating them, that is what allowed me to, finally start sounding like a native speaker, right? It's because I was not listening to all kinds of Spanish and imitating all kinds of Spanish because there are so many differences. Okay. Oh my goodness, I just looked at the time. It's been an hour. Okay, I am going to have to go over the time. I'm sorry. I cannot end the video yet, you guys. I'm so sorry. I cannot end the video yet. I have more information for you. But we're almost done. So we're going to talk about the first task. We're going to talk, quickly how to improve your pronunciation. I already gave you guys some tips. It's the imitation method and the shadowing, okay? But the way that I teach pronunciation and the way that I plan on teaching it from start to finish in my course that's coming up in November is basically starting with the smallest units of sound. Because if you can get those sounds, okay, accurate or very close to what I'm doing, okay, Then you move from the sounds to short words, okay? And then from short words to long words. So you can work on those tricky words that have multiple syllables. And then you move from long words to small phrases to start working on connected speech. And then from connected speech and connected short phrases, you start working on longer sentences, okay, and intonation patterns, and then also free speaking, where you're able to just speak, what was the thing I was going to say? Sorry, where you're able to just not follow and shadow anything, but just speak from your own ideas, from yourself, okay? So that is like the way that I think is the best way to learn. You start with the smallest units, okay? And you really work on getting those right before you even go to the connected speech. Because if you cannot make the correct vowel sounds, okay? Or if you still struggle to make a certain consonant sound, how are you gonna put everything together with connected speech? To put it all together, you have to break it down and start with the units, okay? So you go from small units to the whole, so that at the end, it's like, I get it. I get it. I can make each sound correctly. I know how to connect words naturally. I feel good when I speak. I have, good intonation patterns, etc. Okay. So let's talk about your first task. I'm going to email it to you guys after this video. Basically, I have created a word list for you. I have hand-picked every single word on this list, and there's a reason why it's on this list, okay? And it starts with smaller words, then it goes to bigger words, then it goes to small sentences, okay, for connected speech. Exactly the methodology that I just told you, we're actually going to do this. We're actually going to work on it. So your homework is, I want you to get this list and I want you to make a video, record a video reading it. So introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm from California. I live in California. My native language is English. And I'm going to do the task 1 for the Fluent Pronunciation Challenge, okay? I'm just going to read this list. That's your task. That's all I want you to do. And then what we're going to do throughout the week in the next videos, the next live trainings like this is, first, I'm going to watch as many videos as I can. I want to hear how you guys speak. I'm going to take notes on your mistakes. All right. We're going to take notes. And then every single day, I'm going to take a portion of that list and I'm going to train you on, first of all, I'm going to teach you why I put this on the list. Then I'm going to train you on what the mistakes are, how to say it correctly. I'm going to show you, I'm going to get really close to the camera so you can see my pronunciation, etc. All right. And then every day of the week, we're going to go through this list. I'm going to continue doing the type of training that I've done today where I'm like teaching you things about pronunciation, accent, etc. But in the following days, I also want to do more Q&As, okay? I want to actually take questions from the comments, respond. We don't have time for that today, so I want you to think about what questions you have for me based on the tasks, based on the homework that you do, based on this video and everything that I'm discussing, okay? So in the following trainings, we'll have more time for Q&As. What else? That's it. That's it about the task. So I will email you. I will give you the word list, and all you have to do is record yourself, introducing yourself, and then reading this list. Then in the following days, I'm going to teach you how to pronounce all of this stuff correctly. And at the end of the challenge, you're going to have an after. So you're going to have a before and an after. The first time you read this list, it's without any training from me, without any explanations from me. It's just you where you're at right now with your English, your pronunciation, etc. This is going to be your before. Okay. Then all week, I'm going to train you on everything that's in this list. And then at the end of the challenge, you're going to get to make your after. So this means you need to practice these words throughout the week, okay, as I teach them to you. And then we're going to have like a couple other things here and there, but that's basically how it's going to work. Don't be nervous about making a video, posting it in the group or anything like that. Okay, this is a very supportive community. If anything happens that makes you uncomfortable, you just send us a message, an email, and we will take care of it, okay? So don't feel scared or bad. Don't feel ashamed about your pronunciation. I need to see these videos. I need you guys to do the homework because I need to analyze the videos so I can collect the feedback and share the feedback. So it's very important that you contribute to this whole experience by doing the homework. Don't feel embarrassed about your accent or your pronunciation or the sound of your voice. All right. We are here to learn and work together. This is not an event or an experience where you just consume information, because if you want to start experiencing your transformation, you have to do the work. Okay. And trust me, these tasks are designed to get you specific results. So just do it. Okay. Coming up, a few things that I have for you in the challenge. We're going to talk about one of my biggest discoveries about intonation, and this is huge. This is so huge because so many people struggle to learn it, and I discovered a super, super, super easy way to really, truly master native-like intonation, and I cannot wait to tell you guys about that. Next, I'm going to actually show you how I speak Spanish. I'll speak Spanish for a little bit. I'll let you guys hear it, hear my accent. We'll talk about that. I'll tell you more about my journey of learning Spanish. We're going to talk about speaking anxiety more in depth and how to overcome it. We have the Q&A sessions that are going to be off the back of these trainings. So I'll do like training. We'll talk about the homework. And then right after, we're going to continue with some Q&A. Questions and answers. Then we're going to talk about connected and fast speech in these trainings. Okay, we're going to get really kind of deep into that stuff. We're going to talk about how to develop a powerful, confident voice. I know I talked a little bit about it today, but I have a lot more to share about all of these things. We'll talk about some bad speaking habits to avoid. We will talk about how to hear and fix your own pronunciation mistakes so that you do not need to rely on a teacher. So many students think, I need the teacher to tell me what I did wrong. I need that kind of feedback, right? But that really does not put you in a very powerful position as a learner. It means you're dependent on somebody else, and you don't have to be. And I can teach you how to really become a more powerful, independent learner who has more control over your own progress and journey. And of course, we're going to talk more about my accent and pronunciation course that's going to launch in November, in case anybody here would also like to be part of that. So that's it, you guys. It was so wonderful hanging out with you. And just think about the questions that you want to ask me, okay? Because I'm going to be able to answer a lot of questions this whole week. Okay, so that is it. I'm going to wrap up this video. I'm going to end it now, and then I'm going to email you the homework. Give me about, half an hour to do it. And then I'm going to open up the group so everybody can start posting their homework in here. Okay, that is it, you guys. Such a pleasure to have you here, and I will see you soon.